Dear students, today's topic of my lecture, capacitance. So, first we learn what is capacitor and then capacitance. So, first you understand what is actual meaning of the capacitor. A capacitor is a system of two conductors separated by an insulator or dielectric. You can see here there is a diagram. Here these are the two conductors and they are separated by a insulator. So here it is an air or vacuum. So this arrangement is known as capacitor. And ability of a capacitor to store charge is known as capacitance. What happens basically when we are giving the charge to the capacitor, then its potential increases. Or we say that when the two plates of the conductor are connected to a battery or the cell, then we are providing a potential due to which a charge is produced. So as we are increasing the potential between the plates, charge also increases. So that's why we say that the Q is directly proportional to potential. For omitting this proportionality sign, we require a constant and that is represented by C. So this C is called capacitance. So from here we can say that C equal to Q upon V. If we say that 1 volt potential difference is applied across the plates of the conductor, then C equal to Q. So from here we can say that capacitance of a conductor is defined as charge required to raise its potential through 1 unit. So that is called capacitance of a conductor. And how the capacitor is measured, and for that purpose SI unit is required, and that SI unit is farad, which is represented by capital F. And how we can represent the capacitor? For that purpose we take the two parallel lines, and this is the representation of parallel plate capacitor. Now sometimes in your CBSE examination they asked 1 farad definition. So how you can define it? Now if we say that charge Q equal to 1 coulomb and V is 1 volt, then in that condition the capacitance is 1 farad. So 1 farad capacitance can be defined as when 1 coulomb of charge raise the potential of a conductor by 1 volt. That is called capacitance of 1 farad. Since what we say 1 coulomb is a very big amount of the charge, that is a big unit. So that's why the capacitance generally we take in millifarad or microfarad or nanofarad or picofarad. The capacitance depends. This is very important. So many concept based questions on this concept. So capacitance, see, that depends on the geometrical configuration. What do you understand by the geometrical configuration? That is shape, size, separation of the system of two conductors. That what we call capacitor. And it also depends on the nature of dielectric, that is insulator separating the two conductors. You can see here in the diagram this pink line or pink area, that is representing the dielectric, and these are the two conductors which are having negative and positive charges and separated by a dielectric. So this arrangement is known as capacitor, and the capacitance is ability of a capacitor to store the charge, that is known as capacitance, and its value that depends on, which is very important, again I am just telling you, depends on shape, size and separation, and also depends on the nature of dielectric separating the two conductors, and how it depends on the shape, size, separation and the nature, and that you will learn in other slides. Now first we calculate capacitance of an isolated spherical conductor. So for that purpose we consider a spherical conductor of radius r, small r we are representing here, and plus q charge is placed at its center. So as you already know that by the formula, the capacitance is charge upon potential. So for finding a capacitance, we must know the potential. So that you already studied, potential at a point on the surface due to a point charge is V equal to Q upon 4 pi epsilon naught R. Now you know the formula of the capacitance, C equal to Q upon V. Substitute this value of V here, then what happens? Then you will get, after solving that equation, C equal to 4 pi epsilon naught R. So this is the expression for the capacitance of an isolated spherical conductor. So from here you can see that capacitance of the spherical conductor is directly proportional to R, because 4 pi epsilon naught is constant here. So the above equation, or you can say this equation, is true for conducting spheres, whether it is a hollow or solid. If there is a medium around it, around the charge there is a medium, in that condition this expression gets changed, because now here you will get now 4 pi epsilon of medium and small r, and that we have to write in terms of the relative electrical permittivity or dielectric constant, and then that becomes C equal to 4 pi epsilon naught epsilon r and small r. So epsilon r is the relative electrical permittivity, or we can say dielectric constant. Now if we calculate the capacitance of the earth, so you substitute the value here of the radius of the earth and in this equation, and then you calculate it, then what you will get? You will get 711 microfarad. So this is the capacitance of the earth. You remember it in the 1 marks question in CBSE examinations, they can ask you. Now the another topic is dielectric strength, which is very important. As its name indicates, dielectric strength. So the maximum electric field that a dielectric medium can withstand without breakdown of its insulating property is called dielectric strength. Its SI unit is volt per meter. For example, we say that for air, its value is 3 into 10 is power 6 volt per meter. It means if dielectric strength of the air increases to 3 into 10 is power 6 volt per meter, then it becomes conductor. Or up to this value, the air remains insulator. That is dielectric. So you remember it. It is also the 1 marks question. Now, principle of capacitance. In your syllabus, basically the parallel plate capacitor is there. So you must understand the principle of parallel plate capacitor. What happens if we consider two parallel conductors, say A and B, and B conductor is neutral and a positive charge is given to the conductor A, as you can see in the diagram. So at present, only the conductor A is given the positive charge and B conductor remains neutral. Now when this neutral conductor B is brought near to the charged conductor A, then what happens? Then due to the induction process, a negative charge developed near to the plate A and positive charge developed on the other side of the plate B. Now the potential of the system of A and B, which is explained in the step 1 and 2, remains the same because the potential due to positive and negative charges on the plate B cancelled out. So the first situation comes as you see in the diagram. But what happens if plate B is connected to the earth? That is, this side of the plate B is connected to earth. Then from the earth, negative charges, they comes and neutralizes the positive charge on the plate B. Then only the negative charge is left on the plate B, due to which net potential of the system decreases due to the sum of positive potential on plate A and negative potential on point B. Then for increasing the potential to the same value as was earlier, that is explained in the step 2, then additional amount of the charge can be given to the plate A. It means the capacity of storing the charge on the plate A increases. Then such type of the working is known as principle of capacitance, and this is also known as the system formed is called parallel plate capacitor. So you have to do the study of parallel plate capacitor. So this is the principle of parallel plate capacitor. Now we have to find out capacitance of parallel plate capacitor. So for that purpose, again we consider parallel plates which are arranged in the form of the parallel plates having the equal area separated by air, separated by air medium or any other insulating medium such as paper, mica, glass, wood, ceramic, etc. But initially we have to calculate by considering that the intervening medium between the two plates is air or vacuum. So in that condition, you just remember it. First, we have to find out always potential difference between the plates for calculating the capacitance. So here you see that these are the two plates which are placed parallel to each other, having equal area, separated by a small distance, say small d. Since the plate A is positively charged and the plate B is negatively charged, so their surface charge densities are sigma and minus sigma. So an electric field is developed between the plates, which is represented by E vector, and the direction is from positive plate to negative plate. And that you already studied in my previous videos, in which I explained Gauss's theorem and its application. So only the electric field lies between the plates, and that electric field is, I just remind your memory, and that electric field is E equal to sigma upon epsilon naught. So first you find out the potential difference between these two plates, and that potential difference is V equal to ED. That you already studied the relation between potential and electric field. So V equal to ED, but E equal to sigma upon epsilon naught, and this D. So expression becomes sigma upon epsilon naught D. But sigma is charge per unit area. Surface charge density is charge per unit area. Substitute this value here. So what you will get? V equal to Q upon A D upon epsilon naught. So this is the potential difference between the plates. Now substitute this potential difference here in this expression of the capacitance C equal to Q upon V. So in place of this V, you substitute this value. When you substitute this value and solve it, then what you will get? You will get C naught. We are saying C naught. C naught means the intervening medium is air or vacuum. Then C naught equal to, after the calculation, A epsilon naught upon D. So you see that from this expression, as we say earlier, capacitance of a capacitor, that depends on its geometrical configuration, that is shape and size and separation between them and the nature of medium. So you see here capital A, that is the area, shape and size, separation between the plates, small d, nature of medium is absolute electrical permittivity. If you change the nature of medium between the plates, then the value of this epsilon naught gets changed. So we are saying that earlier we have taken a air or the vacuum between the plates. Now we filled by a dielectric medium of relative permittivity epsilon r or dielectric constant say K. Then in that condition what happens? Then you will get C equal to A epsilon naught epsilon r upon D. Then, or we can say that C equal to A epsilon naught K upon D. Then this portion A epsilon naught upon D, which is C naught. So you substitute here. So what you will get? You will get C equal to K C naught. So remember it here, 1 marks question. If a dielectric medium is inserted between the plates of the parallel plate capacitor, then its capacity increases K times. That is the value of dielectric times. So from here, what we say that the capacitance of the parallel plate capacitor is directly proportional to the area of the plates and inversely proportional to the distance of the separation between them and the nature of medium of plates of the parallel plate capacitor. So these three factors, you remember it, very important. Further you can see from the same formula, capacitance is directly proportional to the area, inversely proportional to the distance between the plates, and the nature of medium between the plates of the capacitor. If a dielectric is introduced between the plates of the capacitor, then its capacity increases by this expression. So you remember it. Now, just you have studied in class 10th, like the resistances are connected in series and parallel, and at that time you calculate the total resistance. Similarly, here we take capacitors are in series as well as in parallel. So first one is series combination of capacitors. So same way as you have taken in class 10th, when the resistances are connected in series, at that time charge remains constant. That is, current remains constant in that case. So when we are saying here, so here we say that charge is same on each capacitor in series combination. Whereas when you calculated the value, total value of the resistance in series and parallel combinations. So in series combination, what we say that the current remains constant. Here, charge remains constant. And there, what we say that in parallel combination, potential remains constant. So here also the potential remains constant in parallel combination. So you remember it, in series combination, charge remains same on each capacitor. Here we are taking the three capacitors which are having the capacitance C1, C2 and C3, and they are connected in series with a battery of potential V, and each capacitor having the same charge. So potential across to the each capacitor is different. So total potential is V equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3. But you know that V1 equal to Q upon C1 and V2 equal to Q upon C2 and V3 equal to Q upon C3. And if we say that Cs is the equivalent capacitance or the effective capacitance or the net capacitance or the total capacitance of this combination, then in place of this V you have to write Q upon Cs equal to, in place of Vn, Q upon C1, in place of V2 plus Q upon C2 and so on plus Q upon C3. Then this Q gets cancelled. Then what you will get? 1 upon Cs equal to 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2 plus 1 upon C3. So this is the formula for series combination of capacitors. You remember it? When you calculated the value of the resistances are in series, at that time it is Rs equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. But here it is just opposite. 1 upon Cs equal to 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2 plus 1 upon C3. If we say that n number of the capacitors are connected in series, then in that case we say that 1 upon Cs equal to sigma I equal to 1, I equal to n, 1 upon Ci. So from here what we say that the reciprocal of the effective capacitance is the sum of reciprocal of individual capacitances. And note here, very important point, the effective capacitance in series combination is always less than the least value of all the individual capacitances. Whereas in case of the resistance, it is maximum value. So don't get confused. Now come to the parallel combination of capacitors. Now in parallel combination of capacitors, again you remember it, in parallel combination the potential remains the same, or across to each capacitor remains the same. So this is the parallel combination. Here we are taking the three capacitors of capacitance C1, C2, C3. They are connected in parallel with a battery of potential V. So across to each capacitor potential is V, but the charge is different. So you remember, this is the concept which you remember for doing the numericals or the concept based questions. In series, charge remains the same, but in parallel, charge is not same. Charge is distributed. So across to the each capacitor, the charge is different. But in series, charge remains same. And in series, potential is not same across to the each capacitor, but in parallel, potential remains same across to each capacitor. So you remember it. So total charge in that case becomes Q equal to Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3. From the formulas you have to write Q1 equal to C1V, Q2 equal to C2V, Q3 equal to C3V, and total charge Q equal to CPV, where CP is the equivalent or the net effective capacitance or the total capacitance of the system. Substitute this value here in this equation, then what you will get? CPV equal to C1V plus C2V plus C3V. Take V common from here, then this V and that V get cancelled. Finally, what you will get? CP equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3. And if n number of the capacitors are there, then Cp equal to sigma I equal to 1, I equal to n, and Ci. So from here, the effective capacitance is the sum of the individual capacitances. So from here also you note down the effective capacitance in the parallel combination is larger than the largest of all the individual capacitances. So this is about series combination and parallel combination of capacitors. Now we have to calculate energy stored in a parallel plate capacitor. Very important derivation. So many times in your CBSE examinations, they asked this question, this derivation, and a very simple derivation this one is. So here we are considering two parallel plates, that is a parallel plate capacitor connected to a battery of potential V. So you understand what is actual meaning of energy stored in a capacitor. The process of charging a capacitor is basically equivalent to transferring the charge from one plate to another plate of the capacitor. The moment charging starts, there is a potential difference between the plates. Therefore, transfer charges against the potential difference, then some work has to be done against to this potential difference, and this work done is stored as electrostatic potential energy in the capacitor. If we say that dq be the charge transferred against the potential difference V, then the small amount of work done, that is du equal to dw equal to V dq. Du is the small change in energy, and this is small amount of work done against to the potential difference V for transferring the charge dq. Now V equal to Q upon C. So you just substitute the value of V. So Q upon C dq. So basically dw equal to dq upon C dq, which is equal to du. Now the total work done to transfer the charge Q, what we do? We integrate it from 0 to total charge Q. So U equal to integral 0 to Q, Q upon C dq. C is constant. So 1 upon C you take outside. Then integral 0 to Q, 1 upon C you take outside. Integral 0 to Q, Q dq. Integrated, you will get Q square by 2. Then put the upper limit minus lower limit. Solve it, you will get U equal to 1 by 2 Q square upon C. Now another formula you get half CV square, by substituting the value of q equal to cv. So it becomes c square v square, 1c get cancelled, then you will get half cv square. So this formula generally we used at various places, so you remember it. Another formula you can also get from here. If you write cv into v and cv is q, so that becomes u equal to half qv. So these are the various forms of the formula of the energy stored in the capacitor, but you remember this formula and that formula we use at a lot of places. But all formulas are important for conceptual problems. So you must remember it, how these formulas we can apply. So this is about energy stored in a parallel plate capacitor. Now come to the energy density. Energy density is defined as total energy stored in the parallel plate capacitor per unit volume of the parallel plate capacitor. That is called energy density. What is density basically? The density, what we say that mass density, what we say that mass density is mass per unit volume. Similarly, energy density is energy per unit volume. So here we are calculating for parallel plate capacitors. So that's why we say that energy density is defined as the total energy stored in the parallel plate capacitor per unit its volume. So as you just calculated, energy in the parallel plate capacitor U equal to half CV square, but C equal to A epsilon naught upon D and V equal to ED. Substitute these two values here, and after that when you calculate it, then what you will get? U equal to 1 by 2 epsilon naught ADE square, or we can say that this AD is transfer here, so U upon AD, that becomes energy per unit volume. And what is that? Energy density. And then it becomes half epsilon naught E square, or we can represent it by U bar or sometimes by small u, equal to 1 by 2 epsilon naught E square. So this is energy density. Now the SI unit of energy density is joule per meter cube, because it is energy per unit volume. The SI unit of energy is joule and the volume is meter cube. So that's why it is joule per meter cube. Now energy is stored in series combination of parallel plate capacitors. As you already calculated, in series 1 upon C equal to 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2 plus 1 upon C3 plus dot 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 1 upon Cn. Or you just want to specify it, then you can write here 1 upon Cs. Then what you will get? Energy is U equal to 1 by 2 Q square upon C. And 1 upon C is this. So substitute this value here. So you will get U equal to half Q square outside, within bracket is 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2 plus 1 upon C3 plus dot 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 plus 1 upon Cn. Or you can say that U equal to this factor is U1 and that factor is U2. So U equal to U1 plus U2 plus U3 plus so on Un. It means the total energy stored in the system is the sum of energy stored in individual capacitors. So this is energy stored in series combination of capacitors. Similarly, you can find out energy stored in parallel combination of capacitors. As you know, in the parallel combinations, the total capacitance is C equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3 plus so on Cn. And you know the formula of energy stored in capacitor, U equal to half CV square. Then you substitute the value of C from here. So U equal to 1 by 2 V square within bracket C1 is C1 plus C2 plus C3 and so on Cn. And that again you can write U equal to U1 plus U2 plus U3 plus so on Un. So again we can say that the total energy stored in the system is the sum of energy stored in individual capacitors. Now if we take the two capacitors and connected these two capacitors by a wire, then at that time the charge shared from one capacitor to another capacitor. In that condition, there is some loss of energy takes place. So the next topic is loss of energy on sharing of charges between the capacitors in parallel. When they are in parallel at that time, there is a loss of energy on sharing the charges takes place. Let us see that how much loss of energy takes place. So for that purpose, we consider the two capacitors of capacitance C1, C2 and charges Q1, Q2 and potentials V1, V2 respectively. Then when we connect these two capacitors C1 and C2 in parallel, then what happens? Then the charge starts sharing from one capacitor to another capacitor, and this sharing of the charging till both the capacitors having equal potential, means this charging will takes place till both the capacitors having the same potential, and that potential is known as common potential. So in that condition, total charge after sharing must be equal to the total charge before sharing. So if we say that the common potential is capital V, so in parallel the total potential is C1 plus C2, then total charge that becomes C1 plus C2 then multiplied by V. So this is the total charge after sharing, and total charge before sharing is C1 V1 plus C2 V2. So from here you can find out the common potential V equal to C1 V1 plus C2 V2 upon C1 plus C2. So this is a common potential. Now total energy before sharing, which is represented by Ui equal to half C1 V1 square, that is the total energy of capacitor C1, and half C2 V2 square, total energy of the capacitor C2. So total energy before sharing it becomes Ui equal to half C1 V1 square plus half C2 V2 square. Then total energy after sharing is UF, that we are saying final, equal to 1 by 2 C1 plus C2 V square. Now loss in energy is initial total energy minus final total energy. So Ui minus Uf, substitute these values and you calculate it, then you will get this expression. That is Ui minus Uf equal to C1 C2 V1 minus V2 whole square upon twice within bracket C1 plus C2. So from here Ui minus Uf is greater than 0 because this value is positive. So Ui minus Uf is greater than 0. It means Ui is greater than Uf. So some energy is lost, and this loss of energy when the two charged conductors are connected together appears in the form of heat, and the wire connecting the two capacitors may become hot. So that's why we say that some of the energy is lost or dissipated in the form of heat. Now another derivation which is also an important derivation, capacitance of parallel plate capacitor with conducting slab. As I already told you, whenever you are calculating the capacitance, then first of all you have to calculate the potential difference between the plates. Then only you can find out. When you find out the potential difference, then after that you have the formula C is equal to Q upon V, and Q remains constant, only the variable is potential difference. Then you substitute the value, you can find out the capacitance. So here we are considering a charged parallel plate capacitors having the charge plus minus Q of plate area capital A separated by small distance d with intervening medium air or vacuum. So due to this positive and negative charges, an electric field is developed between the plates, which is represented by E naught. Now we introduce a conducting slab of thickness T, which is less than D. Then what happens? As you already studied, when a conductor is placed in external electric field, then inside the conductor electric field is zero. So same way is here, the net electric field is zero. Due to the induction, negative charge is developed on the surface of the conducting slab and positive charge is developed here. And net electric field inside the conductor is zero. So potential difference between the plates is V is equal to ED. So in place of here, E is E naught, and in place of D, D minus T, because this E naught is now lies in the region D minus T plus En T, but En is 0, so that's why this factor is 0. Then you will get V equal to E naught D minus T. Already you know electric field between the plates, E naught equal to sigma upon epsilon naught, but sigma is Q upon A. So E naught equal to Q upon A epsilon naught. But C equal to Q upon V. So when you substitute the value of E naught here and the value of V here, and you calculate it, what you will get? C equal to A epsilon naught D minus T. You take D outside, then you will get C equal to A epsilon naught D outside in the denominator 1 minus T upon D. Then what is this? This is C naught. So C equal to C naught upon 1 minus T upon D. It means C is greater than C naught. Thus, capacitance increases by introduction of conducting slab. So you remember it, 1 marks question can comes, and this derivation is also important. So many times in your CBSE examination, they asked this derivation. Now, capacitance of parallel plate capacitor with dielectric slab. Earlier, we have taken a conducting slab. Now we are taking here the dielectric slab. Similarly, we consider charged parallel plate capacitor of plate area A and the charge on the plates is plus Q minus Q separated by a small distance D with intervening medium of air or vacuum. But you remember it, here it is a dielectric slab. So due to the polarization, an electric field is developed inside the dielectric slab. Then again you have to find out the potential difference between the plates of the capacitor. So here inside a dielectric slab whose thickness T that we are introducing in between the parallel plate capacitor, and this thickness T is less than D, and the electric field due to the polarization which is developed EP. So net electric field in the dielectric slab En equal to E naught minus EP. Then potential difference between the plates of the capacitor V equal to E naught D minus T within bracket, because this electric field E naught that lies in the region D minus T, and net electric field En which lies in the region T. So the potential difference between the plates of the capacitor that becomes V equal to E naught D minus T plus En T. But En equal to E naught upon K, that you already know that from the definition of the dielectric constant. At that time the dielectric constant is F naught upon Fm, and you substitute the value of F in terms of electric field, that is Q naught E naught upon Q naught En. Q naught get cancelled, then you will get K equal to E naught upon En, or En equal to E naught upon K. So when you substitute this value here, then what you will get, V equal to E naught within bracket D minus T plus E naught upon K into T. Now you take E naught common within bracket D minus T plus T upon K. But E naught is sigma upon epsilon naught and sigma is Q upon A. So E naught becomes Q upon epsilon naught A. Now this is potential difference between the plates of the capacitor. Substitute this value here in this expression, C equal to Q upon V. After calculating, you will get C equal to A epsilon naught upon within bracket D minus T plus T upon K. Again you take D common. When you take the D common, then what you will get, C equal to A epsilon naught D outside the bracket, within the big bracket is 1 minus T upon D, and within small bracket is 1 minus T upon K, and then this A epsilon naught D is C naught. So again from this expression, C is greater than C naught. So capacitance increases with the introduction of the dielectric slab. So you remember here, whether the conducting slab we are introducing or the dielectric slab we are introducing in parallel plate capacitor, its capacitance increases. Now if dielectric slab occupies the whole space between the plates, then what happens? Then in that condition T equal to D. So in that case the capacitance that becomes C equal to K C naught, and dielectric constant in terms of the capacitance, from here we can say that K equal to C upon C naught. In CBSE, once they ask this question, they have given the two capacitors value and they are saying that find out the value of the dielectric constant. So dielectric constant in terms of the capacitance, you can say it is defined as the ratio of the capacitance of parallel plate capacitor with dielectric medium to the capacitance of the parallel plate capacitor with intervening medium of air. That is called dielectric constant in terms of capacitance. Now, there is a one important table for the conceptual based question You remember this table and also understand. Here we are taking some physical quantities: charge, capacitance, electric field, potential difference, energy stored, right? And at that time, the parallel plate capacitor which we are considering, and in it there is a dielectric slab, means the intervening medium. In the intervening medium of the parallel plate capacitor, we are introducing a dielectric slab and connect it to the battery. Then you see the effect. If we disconnect the battery, then what effect takes place on these physical quantities? And if remain connected the battery, then what effect takes place on these physical quantities? So you see here, the first physical quantity that we are taking, charge, and the parallel plate capacitor which we are taking, that is with dielectric slab. So when you disconnect the capacitor from the battery, then charge remains the same. No effect onto the charge. Whatever the capacitor is charged, that remains the same. But if we remain connected, then what happens? Then the charge increases. How much charge increases? That is K times, dielectric times of initial charge. And that you understand like that, when your mobile get discharged and when you are connecting to the battery or to the socket, then what happens? Then the charging starts and charging increases. So that's why we say that when the battery remains connected, then charge increases K times. So K Q naught. Q naught is initial value of the charge. Now you disconnect from the battery. Then what happens? Then the charge remains same. What effect takes place onto the capacitance? As you already studied, when we are introducing a dielectric slab, then its capacitance increases by K times. So whether the battery is connected or disconnected, the capacitance increases. That is K times K C naught. K C naught. What effect takes place on electric field? The electric field, when the battery disconnected, at that time it decreases. And when the battery remains connected, it remains same. Potential difference, when the battery disconnected, then it decreases, but when the battery is connected, then it remains same. That you can understand by that form, by that charging of the mobile. Okay, so when the mobile is on charging, then potential that you are getting, that remains same. But when the charging stops, you are disconnecting, then what happens? Then potential decreases. Now energy stored, when the battery remains disconnected, at that time it remains the same. But the battery connected, at that time energy stored increases K times. So you have to apply the formulas which you have studied. Then by that mathematical expressions you can also get of all these physical quantities in the condition when it is connected with battery or disconnected with battery, subject to the condition when we are taking dielectric slab in between the parallel plate capacitor. If you like my video, then like it, subscribe it, press the bell icon. Thank you. Have a nice day.